I wonder how many times I'm going to say, what's he doing? What? What's he trying to do? What's he doing? All right, so what is he doing? I would have no idea how to do this.
No.
What are they doing? No, but I mean, for what purpose? I just don't understand. It's probably good we're not astronauts.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our channel. I'm Stasi.
I'm Steven.
And in this video, we will both be watching The Martian for the first time. How this is going to work, we're going to see what each other knows about the movie. We'll give a few details, we'll go watch it, and then we'll come back and give our review. What do you know about The Martian?
I know it's about Matt Damon, plays an astronaut, gets stranded on Mars, and has to come back to Earth. I know that my mom saw this movie when it came out in theaters, told me that I should go see it, that it's a very good movie. Then I bought this Blu-ray at Best Buy on sale for like $5, and it sat on the shelf for like 3 years. So, obviously, I didn't take my mom's advice and go watch the movie.
Yeah.
What about you, Stasi?
I know nothing. That was way more than I knew about the movie, so I just knew that Matt Damon was in it.
All right, so a few details about The Martian. Looks like it came out in 2015. Stars, obviously, Matt Damon, Jessica Chastain, Kristen Wiig, Jeff Daniels, Michael Pena, Kate Mara, Sean Bean, Sebastian Stan, Aksel, Hennie, and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Sorry, I probably butchered that name. It says here, screenplay by Drew Goddard. Producers are Simon Kinberg, Ridley Scott, Michael Schaefer, Ejiofor, and Mark Huffam. And it was directed by Ridley Scott. You excited?
Yes. I'm way more excited now because I know that Carter Bazin is in the movie.
Tell the people who Carter Bazin is.
Carter Bazin is from Gossip Girl. It's my favorite show. I'm a little obsessed. Yeah. No, I'm way more excited to watch this now.
Who plays Carter Bazin?
Sebastian Stan. Yes.
There you go. If he's in any movie, she loves the movie
Yeah.
regardless of
He's Carter Bazin.
It's the Winter Soldier is who he is.
Yeah. He's Carter Bazin. He was Carter Bazin first.
Winter Soldier.
Carter Bazin.
Winter Soldier.
He got that role because he was on Gossip Girl, just so you know.
Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with our review. All right, everyone. We just finished watching The Martian. For those who may need a refresher on the movie, we've put a brief synopsis down in the description, so go check that out if you need to. And without further ado, let's get into our review, starting with our favorite parts of The Martian. All right, Stasi, what were your favorite parts of the movie?
So, I have to start off by saying that the visuals were just great. I love stars, and so seeing that in the movie, it was just really well done. I don't know how they did it. You think it's like CGI or something?
I think most of it was CGI.
Yeah.
I would agree with you on that. Like
yeah.
the visuals in this movie, not just the space, the landscapes of Mars, the spaceship, the Ares, flying through space, and then the actors themselves, like being in space in zero gravity in parts, and then they had the parts that were spinning on the ship where they were in, simulated gravity, and just that, and then the landscapes of Mars, obviously all that CGI. I don't know if they went into like a desert or something and filmed Matt Damon, but all those backgrounds and the big panning shots and overhead shots of him driving the rover and doing all that stuff.
So, just the cinematography it was really well done. I'm really hoping they were nominated for some awards for, cinematography because it was just
visual
great.
Effects or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that.
We'll look that up in
the
a little
categories
bit,
that the Oscars have. I also really liked seeing Matt Damon's character. Is his Watney?
Mark Watney.
I can't remember. Yeah, okay, Mark Watney.
Who was Mark?
Matt Damon.
Oh. He's not dead, though.
Well, no
The movie's
shit.
about him.
He was just so smart, and it was really cool to see him figure out how long he needed to stay alive in order for someone to find him, because he wasn't certain that they knew he was still alive. He's pretty sure they thought he was dead. I think he even said that in the movie. And so just seeing him do all of the calculations, and, he's a botanist, so it was probably something that came easy to him, but for the average person, it was really cool to see that. because I don't think that way. And
he's like doing the math on the food rations
Yeah.
and what he's got to do. I would agree. Like, I just think Matt Damon's overall performance, I mean, that was a very cool aspect of it for sure, of just how problem-solving oriented he was. But I would just say, like, his overall performance, where you see him, you know, because he was up there, obviously, in the story for, like, over a year by himself. So you see him, you know, having his good moments where he's growing the potatoes and things are working out, and then the bad moments where things go the other way, and, you know, he finds just his acting, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he was nominated for anything. I don't think he got the credit he necessarily deserved for it, but he was, you know, especially those scenes, because you just have entire sequences where it's just him. Obviously, he's up there alone, so.
That's hard to do. You have to be really talented, which he is, in order to carry a movie like that. And I will also say the potato part was my favorite part.
When he grew the potatoes? Yeah,
growing the
cool.
potatoes. I really like that.
I just like when he's like, I'm going to science the shit out of this.
Yeah.
And then he ends up growing potatoes in his own shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was meant in the script, but I just thought that was a pretty funny coincidence. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to use his own shit to grow food. There you go. Compost.
Really cool.
Figures out how to put the soil and the fire and the oxygen and the water and all that stuff to make potatoes.
I'd like to think all of those things were based in science. I want to believe that. I don't know if maybe they fudged a little bit. Do you?
I'm sure at some points they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make a movie like that without it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you know, like, the key ingredients of how to grow something in soil.
Yeah.
They had pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty scientifically accurate.
I thought it was cool, even if it is like
awesome.
Part of it's not true. Also, I thought the humor was pretty great. It's for the most part, a serious movie, but I liked how they broke up that seriousness with some humor. For example, like at the beginning of the movie, everyone thinks Watney's dead, so that's what they report. You know, during a press conference, I think they held, and
Jeff Daniels, he's up there like, we lost an astronaut,
right?
So on,
and of course, the audience knows that he's still alive. We see him wake up, and so then when they do find out that he's alive, and they're like, we have to go tell these people that no, we were wrong. He's not dead. He's actually alive. And Kristen Wiig, who was their PR person, she's a great comedic actress, and she really played that part well with the, you know, damage control aspect of everything.
She has some great
that
expressions,
they had to,
and, you know, just like, are you kidding me?
And
like,
she could say it all with her face.
Dealing with all, like, the nerds and stuff.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the space travel, and she's like, I don't understand any of this.
Yeah.
Like, I deal with the press. That's
right.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And so that's just one example, but there were different points throughout the movie where, you know, it was a little lighthearted. Especially even Matt Damon, who's by himself, like you said, the science thing, when he's like, like,
or when
even
he's talking
little
about,
things
like
that.
I'm the number one botanist on this planet, or just the way he's narrating to it is like, okay, I got to do this, but my balls are frozen right now, so I'm calling it and going back to the hub. Like,
it was very, like, engaging. It kept you interested in watching. There wasn't a point in the movie where I really felt like, oh, this is dragging.
Right.
Where I was uninterested.
I mean, it's almost a
in
2.5 hour long movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, it goes through and you don't feel like it's slow at all.
No.
I mean, it literally starts, you know, right there. They're on Mars, going through everything all the way up to the end of the movie. And it's just like, you just want to keep watching it. You know? You're not feeling like this is dragging or why, you know, why is this sequence here? None of that. It's just very well done.
Yeah. And I'm not typically a person that's interested in space movies, even though I like the visuals of all that. But having sat through a movie that was, you know, set in space, I was so impressed. I didn't think that I would like it as much as I did, despite knowing that Carter Bazin was in it.
There's your boy.
Carter Bazin. Sebastian Stan.
Is there anything else you liked about the movie?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I agree with a lot of what you said, and I just want to add, like, Ridley Scott directing this movie, I feel like really, you kind of touched on it with, like, the pacing and the low points and the high points and the comedy and the seriousness. I mean, he just did a phenomenal job overall. Obviously, you know, he's pretty well versed in the space genre. Obviously, he did Alien, the original Alien. Just the way that he sets up the story of, you know, what the people on Earth are talking about with versus what Mark's doing, you know, and just doing things with like foreshadowing and people saying like this could be a problem and then it turns out to be a problem, or they have to figure this out and then something happens and they do have to figure that out, and just the way that it was paced and shot and put together was just very, very well done. And then as far as like specific parts of the movie that I really stood out to me, I really liked the beginning, how suspenseful it was, where it just picks up with them on Mars. The storm's coming in, they've got to get out of there. They're debating about whether they should ride it out or go, and they try to get to the ship, and Matt Damon gets swept up by the satellite thing hitting him, and they get on the ship and leave, and they think he's dead. Just that sort of suspense just sort of started it off, and then propelled it from there. I also really thought the sequence at the end, just where it shows the whole world, because the whole time they've been telling, you know, Mark to kind of keep his spirits up, the whole world's rooting for you, and then they actually show, you know, Times Square filled with people, London filled with people, China filled with people, all watching the rescue attempt and all cheering him on, like the whole...
The culmination.
Yeah, just how it all sort of came to...
I really like that
everybody
part,
working together just to save one guy. We're coming, Mark! Hang in there, Mark. We're going to come and get you. And then lastly, I really like the disco music. That was like a big comedy point. Is he's like, the commander's music sucks. I'm up here for a year by myself, and it's all just, you know, shitty 70s disco music that I hate.
I'm definitely going to die up here if I have to listen to any more god-awful disco music.
I kind of really like that music. I liked at the end of the movie during the credits they play I Will Survive, just because it's so fitting.
Yeah.
And like Stasi said, that's just the sort of the comedy tied into the seriousness and the drama of it all.
Is there anything you didn't like about The Martian?
So there's just a couple things, little nitpicky things. Like I said, overall the movie was very well done. We'll get to my score later on. But if I had to pick a couple things I didn't care for too much, it's just maybe like 2 story points in the movie. One, when the hub that he's growing the potatoes in breaches and blows up the airlock and he loses all of his potatoes. Jeff Daniels is there talking about how there's no room for error in the food situation, and then like the next scene he loses all of his food and you're just like, shit! Like really? Like so that part you're just, you know, he's crushed. But again, that's sort of like the whole movie is him just overcoming the obstacles, solving the problems. I mean, that's like his last line in the movie. You solve a problem, you go on to the next problem, you go on to the next problem, and that's what it's about. So but yeah, that part, when he lost those potatoes, man, that
It was
hurt.
so sad.
Yeah. He's
It was
like
devastating.
grabbing the leaves and they're like breaking his hand.
know.
Yeah, it was rough.
No, the potatoes.
And then the sequence where they rescue him in space and he has to go up in the capsule and pop a hole in his hand and blast off like Iron Man and scissors Jessica Chastain in the middle of space like that. It just seemed kind of silly to me based on like the rest of the movie being so, at least trying to be so like scientific and grounded and like this is how many days he would live, this is like going down to like the exact calories and like how many hours he had to charge the solar panels and how meticulous they were and all of that, to have it just be like, oh no, he's just gonna Iron Man through space and then in the middle of space 2 people are gonna intercept each other. Like
That would be fucking impossible.
I feel like I kind of get what they were doing with like they wanted it to be the big, you know, finale and suspenseful climax of the movie, but he'd been through so much shit at that point that like he could have just gone up and, you know, intercepted the thing. Like would have just, I felt, fit more with the movie rather than him.
They had to knock him down one more time to make it difficult.
And it just sort of seemed like, I mean, he literally says, I'm going to be like Iron Man. Like it just sort of seemed like a comic book thing in a movie that was trying to be, you know, space, sci-fi.
As realistic as
grounded,
possible.
like a grounded sci-fi movie. So that kind of stood out to me. But like I said, you just sort of suspend your disbelief. I think you told me that while we were watching the movie. You can't think about it, just enjoy it. So definitely enjoyed the movie overall. Those are just a couple things.
Yeah. I would agree with you. That was one of the points that I had, is just the final rescue scene. It was like a little over the top in a sense, where they were
exactly. Yeah.
And it didn't necessarily fit with the rest of the movie. Anything else you didn't like?
No, I mean the rest of it was like I said, very well made. Like even like Jeff Daniels, who's kind of portrayed as like a villain, even though not really. He's kind of just like the naysayer to when they try to bring up these different ideas. But you even understand where he's coming from, because he even says at one point, I think to Sean Bean, he's like, I have to keep this whole operation running. Like, it's one guy up there. I know it's important to everybody, but I have to make sure this whole thing stays in the air.
Right.
And so even those scenes where you don't really like what he's doing, you still understand why. So I can't really hate the movie for that, because they portrayed it so well. And that's the thing, is that like all the different parts of the movie fit and are portrayed so well, and then you get to him Iron Man through space at the end.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. And this may be a little nitpicky thing that we're saying, but I don't know. There wasn't really much to not like about the movie. It was really well done.
I definitely wish I had listened to my mom and gone and watched this thing in theaters, because I'm sure on a big screen, like, it would have just been even more mind-blowing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one final thing that I didn't necessarily care for was that Carter Bazin was not utilized more. He was in the movie, like, he had his scenes, but, like, I wished he would have been in it more.
You wish he was just wearing, like, a prep school tie and walking around the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Yeah. You know. He can't be Carter Bazin in every movie.
I know.
Also, he's the Winter Soldier. All right, so, would you watch The Martian again?
I would. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. I thought this movie was very well made. It reminded me of Castaway meets Star Wars.
I haven't seen Castaway, so...
You haven't?
No.
We're watching that one soon, people. That's another good one.
Yeah. I know Tom Hanks is in it. That's about it.
Wilson! Nothing?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
Stick around. Okay, now we're going to guess the budget, the box office, and Rotten Tomatoes scores for The Martian. Again, as always, we didn't look any of this up beforehand. We wrote down our guesses. We'll say them into the camera. Stasi will get on her phone and check how far off we are.
Yeah.
All right, Stasi. Budget and box office. Go.
So I think the budget was high, and I'm going to say it was $180 million. And I think the box office was $405 million. You.
I said $100 million for the budget. I do think it was expensive. There was a lot of actors, a lot of visual effects. $100 million on the budget. And I said the box office was $300 million. Now for Rotten Tomatoes, Stasi, what are your scores? Critics and audience. Go.
Critic, 90%. I think that critics really probably enjoyed this movie as much as I did. And audience, I would say 88%. I think it was rated pretty high with them as well.
So I kind of went the opposite of you. I said critics gave it an 86.
Okay.
And the audience gave it a 92. So I
Oh.
think that the audience actually liked it more than the critics.
Oh.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Okay, Stasi, what did the internet say?
Let's see. Okay. So the budget for The Martian is, darn it,
What?
$108 million.
Oh, I was closer.
I would have.
You switched. You said
yeah.
180, right? So
Yeah.
dyslexic, you were right.
Yes. Darn it. Like, okay. Whatever. It's all right. Oh. The box office was $630.2 million. That even surpassed what I thought.
That's double what I said. So I was close on the budget, but they made twice as much money. Damn,
Yeah.
so this movie really crushed it.
Wow.
Awesome. I think it deserves it.
Yeah,
That was
definitely.
I made up $0 of that box office.
Yeah,
But I did buy the Blu-ray.
that's true. You get some credit for that.
I do. And now, Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Critic and audience.
Critic and audience. So
What?
the critics gave it 91%. And audience gave it 91%.
91 and 91. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said critics, but I did say audience 92.
You did.
So I thought the critics were right there.
You're kind of like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that?
I do. Yeah, maybe even a little higher.
Yeah. When I wrote down my number, I said 94.
Yeah. So The Martian got 2 Golden Globe nominations. One for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. So that's interesting. They classified it as a comedy.
How did they split them up? The Golden Globes, how did they...
It's a musical or comedy or drama.
So they called this a comedy?
Yeah, they
not
called
a
this
drama.
a comedy. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
And then Best Actor
Matt Damon.
for Matt
But
Damon.
they didn't win either.
No. And it looks like the movie was also nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Yeah. So The Martian was nominated but didn't win any of
It
them.
didn't win any Academy Awards?
No.
That's bullshit.
It was nominated for Best Visual Effects.
Okay.
And Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Production Design. But yeah, it just says they're nominees. They didn't win.
So it didn't win any.
No.
It's because it's sci-fi.
You think so?
Maybe. Probably not. I don't know. Who knows who wins Academy Awards? Like, honestly, sometimes you just look at who won or who was nominated over... Who won over who was nominated, and you're just like, what the fuck are they even talking about? So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's disappointing.
I like our reviews better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's our review of The Martian.
If you like this video and like the way that we watch and review movies here on the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel and check on notifications so you'll know when we post a new video.
Also, be sure to comment your thoughts below. Let us know what you think of The Martian, of our review, and if there are any movies that you think one or both of us haven't seen before, feel free to comment those below.
Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks.
They just left him behind.
Would you have left him behind?
Probably.
Yeah. It's a tough decision.
I also wouldn't be on Mars, but
Well,
that's just me
that's
personally.
true. Yeah.